And this segment is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbooking app. Not only are they the best, but let's be real, they're safe, they're secure, and more importantly, the thing that we and you both like, they are reliable. Man, you can't go wrong with DraftKings Sportsbook, but we also have a special thing for them. You know the special thing we're talking about, right? That promo code? So we got this promo code, right? MOATS, MOATS. If you use the promo code for all the first-time users out there, you will receive up to $1,000 worth of deposit bonus money. Does that sound good to you?
It sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
I mean, it's hard to find anything better than that right now, is it?
It's up there, dude.
So with that being said, you heard it from Deke, you heard it from me, baby. What are you waiting on? Download the app and use the promo code, and let's get that opportunity to make a little money. Of opportunities, we got a great opportunity to go 10-0 this week. I mean, we're rare because when you look at all the different NFL teams, all the different NFL fan bases, it's only one. It's only one that has that opportunity to go 10-0 this week. And that happens to be us residing in sunny Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I'm excited, man, because this is a great matchup, bro. I don't know how you feel about this, man. Well, but I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. And for me, I look at this matchup. The Jaguars are on tape. They haven't, I mean, this is the thing. They play well, but personnel-wise, they don't have enough. And to me, I even thought back, I know we talked a little bit off air about some of the different teams that we've seen the Steelers go up against, where it was Cowboys, the Broncos, and teams like that. I feel like this team, they're a weird mix. They play disciplined enough to keep them in games, but they don't have enough talent to help them win those games. Does that make sense?
I think that's 100% accurate. I'm with you 100%. Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, I watch them on tape. I'm like, they generate some turnovers. I mean, we saw that they created 2 big-time stops against Aaron Rodgers was a week ago. And then even on offense, it's like they run the ball decent. I mean, James Robinson, he's been looking really good, especially as an undrafted free agent. I mean, what he's been able to do this year.
5th in rushing yards.
Yeah, so you see some of the things they're able to do. Even their 2 receivers, DJ Chark and Keelan Cole. They're having sneaky good seasons as well. Both, for Keelan, he's on a career year path right now. Obviously, he had the punt return for a touchdown as well. So he's a little multifaceted, but it's still, it's not enough. And then obviously with them being down Gardner Minshew, they're going
I'd say that's the main thing. I don't know how much better their record would necessarily be. Maybe they have an extra win or two, but it goes back to the whole Cowboys thing. I think their talent is a little bit less, so no Zeke for them at running back. Receivers
are definitely
good. Like you said, I like Chark a lot, but as a whole, it's not the Cowboys level. And then you have the quarterback. Who's better, him versus Gilbert? I don't know. I mean, it's still... You're on your either backup or your 4th string. It's just not a good situation to be in for your offense.
And I think the guy's name was Jake Luton, right? That's what he said.
Yep.
Yeah, Jake Luton. So even with Jake, I think the difference between Jake and Gilbert, I do give a little bit more respect to Jake because he's had to play, multiple games now. Whereas with Gilbert, that was his first opportunity. And we talked about how in the past, when it's your first time out there, sometimes because teams don't have enough film on you, you can get away with it. And we knew that coming from the XFL, he had already had some success this season. It wasn't as if, he hadn't played at all and then he just kind of got this opportunity. But with Jake though, man, the thing, he does some cool things. I mean, he doesn't look overwhelmed. I think that's the biggest thing I'm trying to allude to, because some of these younger quarterbacks, they look overwhelmed. Even when we watched Ben DiNucci get his first start 2 or 3 weeks ago, at times he looked overwhelmed. Jake hasn't given us that vibe just yet, but obviously from a talent standpoint, he doesn't possess what you need in terms of really attacking you from a passing standpoint. So that's where they're always going to be limited under him, always going to be capped under him. And I mean, that's kind of what you expect when you talk about just later round picks. This guy's a 6th round pick. So you already understand that he's going to have some efficiency or inefficiencies and stuff like that just from a talent standpoint. And you're seeing that when you watch him on tape, man.
I think it's talent. And I think too, they're able to move the ball here and there, just like short passes, conservative passes. I don't think that's going to be enough for our defense. I think we're going to expose that. But the times they do take the shots, they've been 50-50. So I think that's the main thing with me for him. I don't think he does have the talent, but also some of the decision making too, where, all right, they're moving the ball a little bit, but then an errant pick just kind of blows it for them. And that's the thing with them. If they want to stay in games, which they can, just from, like you said, the fundamental standpoint of them playing a game all 4 quarters, to have those type of turnovers, that's going to kill you. And I think that's what happened in the Texans game. He threw a really bad pick. Did they return it to the house? Or
I want to say they did.
Too?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's kind of the main thing there. It's if he plays conservative, I think they could maybe stay in it a little bit more than they would if he wasn't throwing picks. But I think our defense is that good.
You know what I equate when I watch them on tape? It reminds me of if we're watching a basketball game, right? You got this juggernaut team on the other side, and you're like, man, we can't run up and down the floor with them. So what are we going to do? We're going to take the air out the ball. We're going to slow it down. We're four corners. We're going to use the shot clock and really make it just this low scoring, you have to execute every possession type game. That's what I see when I watch them. When I watch them versus the Packers, man, I never felt that they had the talent to even be on the same field as those guys across the board. But they did a really good job of just making the Packers have to execute. They eliminated a lot of the big plays and make you have to go, 7 to 10 play drives. And then also on their offense, when they played conservative in terms of running the ball with James Robinson and then the short to intermediate passes with the two receivers, it kept them in there, and then you get a punt return for a touchdown, and now you're like, whoa, all right, we got a game.
And Rodgers throws a couple bad picks.
Absolutely. So when I see them, that's what it looks like. They're trying to take the time off the clock. Like, just, we're going to kill this clock right here and then make you have to operate. And you should be able to, and trust me, I don't think the Steelers will have an issue moving the ball on them, but they are just solely waiting to capitalize on your mistake.
Yep.
Because they don't have the personnel to just flat out beat you. And I think for us, that bodes well because you've seen the Steelers on offense. They've been doing a really good job protecting the ball this year. I mean, it's been night and day, not only from Ben, but from a ball security standpoint, even in the fumbles department.
Yeah.
Everything from in that standpoint, man, they've been doing a great job. And it's the reason why their turnover differential is so good in terms of being in favor for the Steelers. The Jaguars, because that's what they lean on and base all their hope and dreams on, I just think that's a bad situation for them because, number one, we don't turn the ball over. And number two, we do a great job of generating turnovers as well. So that's why, for me, I'm very, very confident and excited in the Steelers this weekend.
I'm confident too. It just comes down to if we beat ourselves and do dumb stuff ourselves. Like the Cowboys game, we talked about going into that. How the hell are the Cowboys going to be in this? I just don't really see a scenario. It's just got to be a bunch of fluky things, like special teams, like maybe a turnover, or they take a shot and they're able to get something down the field on us for like a 60 or 70 yard touchdown. And that's how the Jaguars have been able to stay in these past two games with Luton. Like right off the bat in the Texans game, there was a bomb to charge for a touchdown. They've gotten some turnovers on Rodgers, the punt return touchdown. So that's going to be essentially it. Punt return
touchdown really changed the game because before that happened, it looked like it was about to get out of hand. It looked like the Packers were about to go on this run and ultimately make it a 2 and 3 score game. They returned the punt, and that changed the whole dynamic of it. And then you get a turnover after that. So it was just negative on top of negative for the Packers. But that's the thing, though, right? For all of those things that have went right for the Jaguars, in the end, you still saw what was the difference. They could not stop the talent that the Packers had, and that was the biggest difference. I think that if it's a scenario where we're turning the ball over and they generate a touchdown or they generate something positive through defense or special teams, I think it keeps the game closer. But I still think that we have more than enough, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, to make those plays at the end of the game to pull it out, very similar to what the Packers did.
Yeah, and us versus the Cowboys. And what's interesting, too, is I know their defense was interesting. I don't know if we want to just get into now their defense versus our offense or whatever, but what's interesting about them in the Texans game, their line's terrible. They were able to get a decent amount of pressure on Watson. And I know he had 50 yards rushing, but he had to make a lot of plays happen for himself in the rushing game and also just passing as well.
Well, and remember for them now, Josh Allen, that's their main defensive end. He's questionable, I think, coming into this game, but they still have the younger rusher. I think was out of LSU, Caleb Von Chasen. He's a younger guy. I think was a second round pick. I want to say this season for those guys. So he's available to them. But other than that, I mean, I'm more impressed with...
They got the middle linebackers, Jack and Schroeder.
For me, it's more linebackers and secondary with C.J. Henderson. Obviously, he was the, number 5 or 6? I think it's a top 10 pick either way.
Yeah.
It's those type of guys that are intriguing, but with C.J., he plays well, but he's inconsistent. He's a rookie, which you expect. With Joe Schobert, I mean, he's a good player. We talked about him.
He had success against us last year. Yeah, but we had Mason.
But no, as a whole, though, he had a really good season in Cleveland, which is why the Jags paid him nicely to go down there. So he does bring you that. And with Miles Jack, Miles is a really good player. I don't think he ever lived up to the expectations of who he was though coming out of UCLA. So with that, it still doesn't seem like enough. When we go down the list of their corners in terms of CJ Henderson, I'm gonna pull up the other two.
I don't think it's going to be
That's
enough
what
for
I'm saying.
them.
Like I'm looking at CJ Henderson right now, and the other corner is Sidney Jones, who's questionable. So you're either looking at potentially Trey Herndon or was this Luke Barco, or I think that's how you say his name, but that none of those guys match up well with any of our receivers. Even if CJ is out there, I like Deontay Johnson going against CJ. I love Claypool versus CJ. Even Juju versus CJ, James Washington. Like, I don't see anybody in that secondary that threatens me like that or makes me feel concerned. Like I said, for me, man, when I watch them, they capitalize on your mistakes. And that's it. So as long as they take care of the ball, and talking about the Steelers here, as long as they can take care of the ball, I think that they can run it on this defense. And I definitely know for a fact they'll be able to pass on this defense, man.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to protecting Ben, because what I want to say too with the whole Watson thing, I think that's more or less with the Texans line. It was weird in the Packers game, and I think it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning. This is just a weird team because there were times I felt they were able to get pressure on Rodgers. But other times he's sitting back there forever.
It was super weird. I agree.
And the time they did get pressure on Rodgers was when he made the mistakes, when he made the pick. So it goes back to the whole thing of, all right, let's just not make mistakes. If they're able to just get pressure on us randomly for a couple times in a series, throw it away, or just, the check down, whatever it is, let's not give the ball in their hands and make it a close game.
Absolutely.
It's all on us. I mean,
and I forgot, they have another sneaky, he's kind of a sneaky pass rusher, Aaron Lynch. Remember, he used to be with the 49ers, I want to say. He had some success out there and with the Bears as well. So he's another guy, but like you said, it's weird. At times, they look like they cannot generate a pass rush, and then you'll see them just flash, and you're like, whoa. So you are capable of that. So, but that's the mark of a team when you talk about a 1-18. The inconsistencies, that's what you get when you don't have premier talent across the board. We're not saying that this Jaguars team is going to roll over, and I don't want you to think that this is going to be some 4-touchdown blowout. That's not what we're saying either, because they are very, like I said, they're very disciplined. They don't.
We got to be on our P's and
Q's. And that's the thing, like, we can run it up and blow them out if they were to play that style of game, but that's not them. They want to slow this game down and make it as low scoring as possible. So even though we're gonna, I'm telling you for a fact, we're gonna be watching this game, especially if it goes how we think it should go. We're gonna be watching it, and we're gonna be like, man, we are in control the whole time, but I don't think it's gonna ever be more than a 2-score game, because the way they play the game, that's just, they slow it down like that. I don't think we're going to be able to have one of those, man, we got 40-3. They just don't give you those type of opportunities right now, man.
Yeah, unless we're able to get a shot or two early.
Right.
But at the same,
create some turnover. If we create the turnovers, then I do see that happening. But like I said, they do a good job protecting the ball.
Yeah, it'd kind of be like the Browns game. It'd be that type of formula for it to be a blowout. It would just be in the first half. And
it would have to happen right now, just out the gate, because that's not their game, man.
Yeah, because I could see it going a scenario where, we're completely controlling the clock. We're taking 6-7 minutes off of it. And then maybe randomly we have to kick a field goal, or maybe we get a touchdown the next series. But then also, if they're the ones just killing the clock too, and then they get a field goal, it could be just not a high scoring game because of how much clock is just
even
drained
though
on
we're
both
in
sides.
Control the whole time. Absolutely, man.
You could see that happening. But either way, it's going to hopefully feel like, all right, we're in control of this game. Almost like in the first half, in my opinion, even though the score was close with the Steelers-Bengals game, I just never felt like, oh, man, they're going to score on us or anything. I feel like we got this if we just keep doing our thing here.
And in fact, I'm even more confident than the Bengals situation, because at least with the Bengals, you kind of had to always say in the back of your head, well, they do have Joe Burrow. Their receivers are good. Could he create some type of spark in the second half? With Jacksonville, because knowing that they need to run the ball to at least keep them on schedule, and knowing, especially with Tyson being back and then the potential of Mike Hilton being back as well, that's not going to be there for them. As good as James Robinson has looked on tape, that element isn't going to be there, because that is for a fact one of the things that we do really well, especially when we have our full gamut of guys, which we're going to have going into this game. So that's why for me, I'm like, a one-dimensional Jags team where Jake Luton has to throw this ball 30 times, potentially 40 times, that's going to end terribly for those guys over there, man.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think of the whole us versus Jacksonville narrative in play with this game?
What do you mean?
Everyone's just like, it's Jackson. We've had struggles with them over the past however many years. This is actually kind of, I guess a game for us to be motivated for, just to take care of business.
I mean, I've even heard people call it a rivalry just because of because of you think of the history of all right with Jalen Ramsey and how he was able to have success on Ben. Then remember they knocked us out of the playoffs. Then obviously the year after that we go down to Jacksonville, win right at the end. They were just saying because of the familiarity with a lot of the personnel. I mean, in terms of Steelers people, there's still a lot of us still here from those Jacksonville games. And then for the Jags, they still got some people there that was a part of some of these games as well. They're saying because of that could add to it. I've heard that narrative, and then I also heard, is it a trap game narrative as well, man? So for me, I don't think it's either, honestly. I mean, I understand they want to.
I feel the same.
Yeah, I don't think it's a rivalry, because when I think of rivalry, I think of like how we are with the Patriots, right? How because we saw each other so many times in significant games, that natural just like, hatred for each other became to grow. Whereas with Jacksonville, we look at it more so as, man, I personally have felt that they've taken advantage of some of our off days. And because I feel like if we play to our full potential anytime we're on the field against Jacksonville, we should win convincingly. And that has been the case when we've played well. But at the same time, in the recent history, they've caught us a couple of times, a little bit less than ready, in the words of Coach Tomlin. But either way, man, I don't see them doing enough. And for the trap game narrative, the reason why I don't think it's a trap game either is because when you're sitting at 9-0,
we need this bye, dude. Like I really stand like pretty hard on this. That I think we just got to keep winning these games.
And now, see, for you're banking on the bye. For me, I'm not even thinking about the bye because I'm already anticipating the NFL hitting us with the okie doke. We're going to expand the playoffs, which ends the bye.
Well, what happened recently? The
Raiders right now.
That game's got to be close to being canceled.
Yeah, well, because right now the Raiders' whole starting defense is quarantined. They're not allowed to be in the facility, and they're like, well, if they don't test positive, they can go out here and play in the game. With Big Ben and Vince Williams last week, I mean, cool. Okay, those are two people we're talking about. If we said the whole offensive unit or the whole defensive unit couldn't practice all week and just show up in game day,
against Mahomes.
Against Mahomes, you're like, what? Are you serious right now? Like, it's crazy to think about. So, yeah, that's why for me, I'm like, it's only a matter of time because another thing, why do the Raiders keep popping up in this? I felt like they were just in this scenario 2 weeks ago with Trent Brown in the offensive line.
Well, they had a party at the beginning of the year.
They had the party at the beginning of the year as well, yeah. And then remember, Gruden had got fined because he was not wearing a mask on the side. Like,
it's
dude,
Vegas.
At least with the Titans, it was like one incident that just took 10 days to 14 days to get settled. With this, it's like, bro, it's 4 separate incidents. Like, what are we doing out there in Vegas, man? What are y'all doing? So that's why, for me, I still feel a little concerned in terms of this whole bye week. I don't think it's going to happen. I understand how the NFL operates, understanding the money associated with the playoffs. I just don't see them allowing that carrot that's dangling right now because they've already talked about expand. They want more. And this is giving them those opportunities. So for me personally, I'm just waiting on it. I'm waiting on the playoffs expanded. No first round buys. I'm just waiting on it, man.
I get that. And then the other thing, though, in terms of rivalry or, I don't know, the extra motivation with this game, which I don't feel like we need to have one way or another. Let's just keep winning. I think there's a good just vibe with this team and everything. But the other thing is, like, all those players on those Jaguars teams are basically gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, the big thing with Jalen Ramsey and some of those other dudes on the defense, you don't have Bortles anymore. Fournette's not there.
Miles Jack, he was one. Josh Allen might have been there for the second, not the playoff year, the one where we actually were been. Remember, it's down in Jacksonville. And
was Josh Allen a rookie last year, though?
No, I don't. I have to check.
I can't. Well, it's either last year or the year prior. The year
before, yeah, I was sad because I thought that was his rookie year, so I have to double check it. But I mean, at least like I said, for defense, Miles Jack. For offense, definitely Greg Robinson. He was there. We definitely remember having some. I mean, Greg Robinson. Excuse me, the tackle. Yeah, so there's definitely been some exchanges, some heated exchanges with some of the edge rushers and that young individual right there. But for me, man, I think when you're 9-0, none of that matters. You're more focused on being 10-0.
Yeah,
I think that's the stage that we're in right now. I feel like if this team had already had a loss, if they were like 9-1 or 8-2 or a scenario like that, I think then you could worry about a trap game or potential quote unquote Tommy game.
So you think we're thinking about the 16-0 a little bit as we're getting closer and closer here?
I don't think it's something that's talked about because, as I told you numerous times with Coach Tomlin, whatever the goal is at the beginning of the year, that's never going to change. And even when you listen to Ben just talked, I think it was yesterday. He said he's not, the 16-0 is great, but that's not the focal point. The focal point is the Super Bowl. That's always been the case. This is like it's cool. This is extra. Kind of like winning the division. You know, I mean, if you win them all and you win the division, it helps you. But the Super Bowl is the final prize. That's the only thing that this team is really concerned about. But I just feel like when you're sitting at 9-0, you're just so locked in. You're so accustomed to this mode of winning that you're going to do whatever it takes to continue that on. And I just don't feel like the Jaguars present enough issues to knock them off. I don't, and I'm not saying that the game could potentially be ugly. It could be an ugly game. I think it's going to be one of those, they just making it just drag along. But this isn't a team that is good enough to beat this Pittsburgh Steelers team, man.
Yeah, and from the sound of our preview here, if that's the case, I don't think that's going to be cause for concern because of just how we're previewing it. Like, we could see this scenario playing out. Like, the Packers are a pretty decent team, although I think a lot of that was on them. Now, if you want to be if you want to be concerned about us, maybe I'm kind of flipping on what I said there, but I don't think like us versus the Packers. I think we're a step up from the Packers, and just
we're
everything,
more complete team than the Packers,
and everything we've done
Yeah.
up to this point. I just don't see the two random turnovers happening. Maybe the punt return, but like I guess maybe after the Cowboys game.
I hold on. You're gonna say maybe the punt return, like Ola didn't just force a whole fumble on a punt. Like, what are we talking about here, man?
No. Here's what I'm saying is like I think we learned from the Cowboys game that we're not going to let that happen again from here on out. So yeah, I just don't see it. I think a double-digit win is what could be happening for us here.
It's gonna be interesting, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna be interesting. Either way, I still like the Steelers to get this and take care of business, man. Because, like I said, as a whole, I just feel like we're playing too well right now. And another thing is this: so we understand Super Bowl is the main focus, but another thing that a couple of players I know are thinking about when you talk about Big Ben. I mean, you could make the whole case. Well, man, it's an MVP race, right? So he's gonna want to play well. But take the MVP race out of it. The last 3 times Ben has played against the Jaguars, he has not had his best games. We know that second one in the divisional round of the playoffs, he heated up and it turned into a really good game. But even then, he started out slow.
Like he would probably say that wasn't his best effort. Although, I think the second quarter on, it was just like good, complete dominance.
But it was just the slow start. And then obviously we know what happened in the first one. And even in the third one, it ended well for him. But throughout the game, he still had some turnovers and stuff like that. So he's already said that this is a game that he wants to go out there and play well in it and kind of get that bad vibe out of him as well. So that's why for me, I'm like, knowing that 7 is motivated, regardless if it's through the MVP race or if we're talking about just the history of him versus Jacksonville, I like motivated 7 versus this team right here because just their secondary isn't good enough to match up with our players. And knowing what we have in stake, knowing what we have in front of us, dude, this is a game where I feel like they go down there and take care of business.
Do we know the weather for this game?
I mean, it's Jacksonville. It's always good.
I wish I would have checked.
It's
But
always nice
I guess you don't know about the rain element.
But this is the thing, though, with the rain, typically, like, every time I played in Jacksonville, man, if it does rain, it's like a quick
I'm going to check.
midday and it's done, man. Like, that's Florida. Florida, man, it doesn't have a whole bunch of just rain all day, man. I think they're good to go, bro.
Okay, hold on. Let me check. Let me check real quick.
Deke playing weatherman today.
I thought about that and I forgot to look it up.
Weather making you nervous?
No, it's not. It's just the style of game, potentially.
I think it's still going to be the same,
All
man.
right, hold on. I typed in Jacksonville Jaguars. That's not what I wanted to type in. Jacksonville weather. 1 o'clock game. All right, hold on. It's 64 right now. Precipitation 20%, 75 and sunny. So we're good.
It's Jacksonville. People don't move to Florida for a whole bunch of rain. They move to Florida because it's nice. Come on, baby.
You never know.
My man said, what about the weather, though? Now, my question to you is this, though.
Whoa.
Do you think we can get the running game back on track this week? Jacksonville, I mean, we talked about it. They're not a good run defense.
We said it last week, kind of. You know, Bengals rush defense was one of the worst in the league.
Is this a get back on track game for the running game?
You hope so. It goes back to everything about this game is about us. So do I have faith in ourselves getting it back? It's not really about their defense or anything or what they're doing. I hope. I don't. Right now, based off the last 3, I'm not feeling too confident in it. But let's try. I say let's try. But I don't know. I'm not opposed to abandoning the mission quicker and quicker. I think I heard. Who did I hear? Someone on ESPN. I don't want to say a name because I don't exactly remember who it was. But they said, like, I think it was for the last game against the Bengals, like we should start off going like 4 or 5 wide right off the bat. But everything we've talked about is like, yo, is that going to be the best idea in the long term where we just completely abandon the run?
Well, and I think this as well, because I got a couple of things with from a media standpoint, but I think the first thing is people will talk about, oh yeah, man, just go pass first, go empty, go let Ben do this and all that right now, because we haven't seen a negative of it, right? It's all been positive. But I feel like this first time we go out there and we completely just say we're not worried about the run and we drop a game where the performance is terrible.
Get the run game, yeah.
Exactly. We're gonna go right back.
We're so one-dimensional.
Right. So that's why for me, I'm like, people are saying that to kind of just drum it up, but we all know, like, you have to have a running game. I mean, we even talked about, even with Mahomes last year in the Super Bowl, like, the running game had to be there. Otherwise, you don't even get the opportunity for Mahomes to play Superman at the end of the game. But the other thing I was going to ask you, well, not even ask you, but just make you aware of. I know you're constantly talking about the national media, not talking about the Steelers, not talking about the players. You know, Ben Roethlisberger was the AFC Player of the Week this week, man. Did you know that? That's a national award.
I posted it on my Instagram. I think that has to do with fan voting, though. No,
I'm just saying in general. I mean, typically, I want to say it's a part of it, but
I don't know if that is that the same. Is that the same as the FedEx like Air Player of the Week?
No, that's the vote. That's that you vote on.
I voted because I voted on that.
That's the vote one. But the NFL, they do their own. That's not fan voting in terms of just who they call the Player of the Week. The FedEx one, that's when you click and vote. Yeah, that's different, right? But he was the AFC Player of the Week, man. That's big time. That's media. That's everybody saying, you know what? We recognize you. Not only
it's
that,
about time.
I mean, you see, well, not about time. I mean, they've been having the Steelers as a team ranked in the top 3 for the past couple of weeks as well, man. I mean, you turn on the TV right now, I get sick of watching the TV because it's just so much Steeler right now, man. That's what I'm saying, man. We even had Ryan Clark, former Steeler, Super Bowl champ. He even had the terrible towel on ESPN going at Stephen A, talking about Stephen A flip-flopping too much, always looking for the negative. So, I mean, trust me, man, it's been everywhere. So if you haven't seen it, I don't know what y'all watching, because every time we talk about this, right, and I go look in the comments, kind of like how you said, right, and there's people always saying the same thing. I'm like, man, look, I had to go double, triple check for myself. It's a lot of Steeler talk on TV right now, a lot, and we're gonna continue that thing going on YouTube as well. So y'all already know, man, we're gonna keep the Steeler talk rolling, baby.
Interesting.
Yeah, man, but he was AFC Player of the Week, man. I
know
was
happy that. To see that. Yeah, that was great.
I was also surprised. They said that was only his, I think, 17th or 18th time, and I'm like, you would think that he would have that award so much more.
This is that bias that we're talking about.
That's crazy. I'm like, man, the dude's so you mean to tell me he's only worth one Player of the Week once a year? Like, what? I could go off the top of my head, think of like 3 games off the top. Well, I'm like, that should have been a clear cut. That should have been a clear cut. Like, who was winning? We have to look into that a little bit more, though. Because you never know. You never know. You never know.
Anything else with this game here? Off the top of your head?
Any X Factors?
X Factors? Oh, that's interesting, actually. Because their kicker, he missed an extra point in the Texans game.
Here we go. Let's go. Deke with the kickers.
I don't know if I have an X Factor here. Right. A specific one in mind. I think we're going to get a pick or two. I think we can maybe get a pick 6. I don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Minka? Can we get another one from him this year?
I hope Edmonds gets one, man. He deserves
one. He's definitely been due.
He's been around the ball a lot. I mean, getting his hand on it, man. PBUs galore. We need that interception, though. Edmonds, is your time, baby. It's your time.
Maybe a Mike Hilton sack thrown in there. I think that's possible.
Okay.
I don't know. X Factor, though. I don't know if I have one this game.
I look at Mike Hilton getting a sack as like TJ getting a sack. I kind of like expect it now.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't know if I could say. I don't know if I could say X Factor.
I got my X Factor. If you want to think a little bit,
I'll think a little bit. I think it's just gonna be one of the receivers, maybe 2 of the receivers
Ray
going on.
McLeod punt return for a touchdown, baby. I'm calling this is the week. We had Jacksonville had a touchdown return last week, so you already know they feel hot and spicy. Ray been on the cusp for a couple of weeks now. I feel like this is the week, man. I'm putting it down right now. The same way you going 27-13, I'm throwing in Ray McLeod punt return touchdown, baby. I feel good now.
It could definitely happen. He's due. You talk about Edmonds getting an interception.
Overdue, man.
He's definitely due for that.
You know what we got to do?
It's just tough, dude. I don't know. There's nothing sticking out. Everything else I've done in terms of research, I've looked. I'm like, all right, I think Ebron might have a good game here. Mm-hmm. Just looking at deficiencies, I think it's too simple to say, like, just one of these receivers are going off. Maybe 2 of them.
But to me, I'm just like, every week we say that.
I know.
I mean, every week one of them. I mean, it's more so pick your poison. Which receiver is going to lead the team?
X Factor is one of those things. It's like an unexpected.
Yeah, we don't expect it, right?
I don't know if I have that. Man, I don't know if I have that for you today.
Expect I think Bennett throw for a touchdown. Like, yeah, he better. When did
Well,
go
wait,
off?
wait.
Yeah, they better.
Hold on, is McFarland back? Is he gonna be back this week?
I think he will. He's supposed to be. Yeah.
Is that a stretch?
I mean, it depends what you're saying. He gonna have 100 yards rushing.
50, maybe a touchdown thrown in there.
Okay.
A little catch out the backfield.
Uh-huh.
It all depends on if we want to use him, though. Because Tomlin's still saying Connor's the bell cow, although we've seen in Cowboy games, we've seen in some games past, McFarland getting some snaps there.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Steelers are interested in him. They're intrigued a little bit what he could bring to the
they
table.
better. They used the 4th round pick on him. What are we talking about here?
True. All right, if McFarland plays, I think he could be an X factor.
I like it there.
I think he could. I don't know what the yard is going to. Maybe it's a touchdown. Maybe it's just something that sticks out. You're like, oh, this kind of flipped the game a little bit
You
for
know
us.
the thing that's funny right now?
What?
This is reminding me of last year when we used to do the tailgates, right?
Okay.
And we would ask for predictions.
Yeah.
And we would just take probably 20, 30 different clips of people giving predictions. And it's like, oh, we got one. There we go. So me and you just keep talking about X factors. Eventually, we're going to hit on one.
Who we say? Edmonds.
I call Edmonds pick.
Mike Hilton
sack. I said Ray for the punt return touchdown. You said McFarland for 50. We just keep going down this list. We gonna be fine. Matter of fact, James counted 100 yards rushing as well, man. Let me think. What else is the X factor, man?
James Washington, a few catches.
I feel strip sack TJ, strip sack Bud.
It's true. Those are all X factors.
Just keep throwing it out. Just keep throwing. Yeah. Anybody's X factor this week, man. But I'm holding true, man. Ray McLeod. That's the one for me.
Okay.
Ray.
He's due, dude. He's definitely due.
He is, man.
Well, you speak of Edmonds. I mean, is there some Pro Bowl consideration for him this year? What does he need to do for that? Is it just strictly stats? Because I don't know. He's been playing really good.
Pro Bowl is based a ton on stats and popularity. That's typically how it goes. I've seen guys that have had way better numbers not get the nod, not even be an alternate. I've seen guys that didn't even play in their, first guy in, just depending on the popularity. So
what do you think of Bud's year this year versus last year? Do you think he's been better or worse?
I think he's been better this year. I think
because there were some really impactful plays with him and TJ with those strip sacks.
I felt like last year though. I feel like last year he definitely should have got in, especially when you look at some of the guys, especially when we went to the alternates.
Judon, yeah.
Like I felt like his numbers were better, his plays were more impactful and meaning. But in terms of this year, I feel like it's a similar situation. I mean, he's very consistent. He's balling out. I would just have to look at who are the other available names because we talked about Khalil Mack and Von Miller last year, right? Neither one of those guys necessarily did anything remotely to the level of Bud or TJ, but they both were the shoo-ins because of name. So that's why for me, I'm like, well, who else is out there from a name standpoint? Obviously, Von's not out there this year because he's hurt, but it's like, who else is out there that could potentially, that is going to get in based off of name alone? And then from there, you start working your way down.
Because I think he's at 7 sacks, but compared to last year, it's like a quiet 7. Because, man, there was I think the Bengals game, he basically closed it out with that strip sack
but
and the recovery.
Like it was a lot more drama in the games last year because it was either a tie or us losing.
Yeah, because you could even say TJ sacks, he's been quiet.
Whereas, but the thing is, and this is what we talked about from just a individual award standpoint with Ben and Claypool and those guys, we're like, they're winning and it's convincing, but it's not enough of the theatrics. It's not enough of the stuff to make you watch. Oh my God, this really is like when we would watch TJ and Bud last year, like you said, they were bailing us out of games. You know how different of a conversation it is that, oh, he had a sack, but they were already up 2 scores. I mean, it's cool versus, man, he had a sack with fourth quarter, 2 minutes left on the clock. They were down. Like that gave him an opportunity to come back. Like the narrative is different. So you're absolutely right.
Well, that's what pisses me off because he should have clearly made the Pro Bowl last year.
And no question.
But he's even having, in terms of just stat, oh man, I'm botching this stuff. In terms of sacks, he's probably gonna be on pace for more this year. I think
he will.
But it's a little quieter.
Right now, he's more,
So he should make the Pro Bowl again this year. I just hope maybe the buzz will get there for him.
Yeah.
As opposed to last year, I feel like the buzz was there for both him and TJ, where he should have made it over Judon. You talk about Von Miller as well.
Absolutely, man.
I'm hoping that's the case this year. Maybe it was last year for everyone to say, man, Bud got snubbed.
Another thing that's going to benefit them, and it benefited the Ravens last year. The Ravens went 14-2. Remember, they had a league leading, I think it was 11 or 12 people. No, it might have been more than that. That made the Pro Bowl roster.
True.
When you're on a team that wins a ton like that, and obviously the Steelers are doing that, that also means a lot to the voters because they're going to say, well, man, this team is stacked. They're winning every single game. And these guys, even though his numbers aren't the best, he's a key part. We've seen him enough, and that will get you voted in there as well. Because some of the people from the Ravens last year, we were both saying like, I mean, that dude's good, but he's not a Pro Bowler. But when you're sitting at 14-2, you got the league MVP. It's kind of hard to persuade the voters to look elsewhere. I think that will also benefit the Steelers this year because of the trajectory that they're on. And I mean, down the stretch, they have what, 3 of your I mean, for the casual viewer, right? 3 of the quote unquote bigger games when you're looking at the Ravens, the Bills, and the Colts. But the rest of those games are still very favorable in terms of they're going to be able to continue to put up numbers. They're going to continue to be able to keep winning as well. So they're going to end with a very, very favorable record. And I think that's going to help them out a ton also when it comes to the Pro Bowl voting.
How many of those are primetime? Bills? Is it Bills and
I think
Ravens?
Bills, Ravens, yeah.
There's one more because didn't we talk about before the season? There's 4. Is it Colts? Is it going to be the Bengals again?
I don't know which one it is of those 2, but you also we might get a flex in there.
But having 3 primetime games like that might
help
might help the visibility and stuff like that.
I mean, the fact you're playing on Thanksgiving, that's going to be huge because that's all eyes on you.
That's a big game.
I mean, even last year with the Bills, that kind of catapulted Josh Allen into the conversation where he's at now because of the performance they put on the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. When you can ball out on Thanksgiving, man, that's all eyes on you. I love that. I mean, even though it sucks playing on holidays, those holiday games are more watched than your Monday night and Sunday night football games. Like that's big awesome. Of a deal. Playing on Thanksgiving multiple times, playing on Christmas multiple times. As much as it sucked in terms of the logistics of being away from the family, man, when you talk about you make a play during those games, every single body. There's no debate. It's not like a Monday night game where, you got some people watching, or a Sunday night, they might stay up. No. On Thanksgiving, everybody's watching football. We know that. On Christmas, everybody's watching football. And I think that's going to be another huge reason why we do see a lot more guys in the Pro Bowl from the Steelers this year, man.
Need to step up, though.
Absolutely, man.
That's the end of the day. Yeah. We could talk about the hype and the visibility.
Man. Make it happen in those moments, man. Make it happen in those moments. I think we will, though.
We're built for it.
I definitely think we will, man. I definitely think we will. So I'm excited about that. Another thing that I'm excited about. We didn't do our score predictions yet.
I know. Are we done? Are we done with breaking down the game? I think we laid it out pretty good.
I think we did as well. So yeah, you ready to go score predictions? I'm 27-13, man.
Okay. I mean, I think that's another good score for this week.
Can I go 27-13?
No. I think you heard the people. You saw some of the comments. They were like,
I did, and I was frustrated too.
I'm not gonna lie. They understood.
I was hoping that they would hit me in the comments like, "Yo, DQ overreacted, man. Let Most take 27-13." Nah, bro. Everybody, I'm talking whether it was social media, whether it was YouTube. I mean, it was TikTok, it was IG. I mean, wherever you want to look at it, man. Everybody said to say, "Don't touch 27." I'm like, God dang. Between the 27-13 and your beard, those are the big comments, man.
Yeah.
So since I can't take 27-13,
that's another good score for this week.
I love that score for this week, actually. I will go with.
Give us 30.
You know what? Why not? Why not go 30? I'm going to go 31 to... I'll go 31-10.
Whoa. I thought you were going to say 14.
No, I don't think they're going to move. This is my only issue. I don't think we score like that because of the style of play.
We get that punt return touchdown, though.
That would help. Absolutely, that would help. But like I said, because of the style that they play, I don't think we score a lot. I just think it's convincing. But since I can't take 27-13, I shall go with 31-10. So there you have it. Actually, I should say 31 to like 11 or something, some weird score. You know, make it like, how did you get that? Was it a
missed extra point or something?
It's something just janky. But 31-10 is the score that I will go with for this week, unfortunately.
Okay, I'm good with that. 27-13 for me.
Well, I'm glad you got to just kick with your pick. It must be nice.
Good.
Must be nice, man.
I'm good.
Must be nice.
Yeah, not much thinking going on there.
All right. But it's cool. It's cool. So we're good with the score prediction, so I'm not complaining about that. Something that doesn't take a lot, well, it does take some thinking, but don't worry, I did the thinking for you guys, okay? And it's with my DraftKings people. For anybody that doesn't know, the podcast has been brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbooking app. Number 1, they're safe. Mm-hmm. Number 2, they're secure. But more importantly, they are reliable, something that we absolutely love. And also with DraftKings Sportsbook, if you use the promo code MOATS for all my first-time users out there, you'll receive up to $1,000 in deposit. You hear that accent? Deposit bonus money right there. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's a perfect scenario. But for me this week, I always like to get my picks.
I know.
Right?
I'm ready to hear this.
All right. So for this week, we're going to stay with the Steelers, but we're also going to step out the box a little bit. All right. So I got 2 scenarios right here.
Whoa.
So the first one is, of course, we got Ben over under 1.5 touchdowns.
They have it out already.
They already have it out.
No.
Absolutely, man. I checked it literally at 2, I think it was 2:20. I looked at it right before we got on. And I said, okay, they had some of the prop bets. I don't know why they got it out so early this week, but they have it out. Usually they don't have it out until Sunday, but they had it out today. So Ben Roethlisberger to go over 1.5 touchdown passes in a game. So essentially
What's
just
the
throw
odds?
for 2 or more. So this is the thing. So the odds aren't good. The odds are minus 200, right? But you know me. I'm a parlay guy, and this is why.
Okay.
Because we definitely think that Ben is going to throw for 2 touchdowns or more. That's all he has to do. 2 touchdowns or more, passing touchdowns. He's going to get that. But the thing that I like is this. I don't like touching the Steelers in this game, money line or spread. The spread is 10. Money line, the odds are minus 400. I hate both of those. But what I do like is this. Chiefs to beat the Raiders. Chiefs minus 8. Okay, Chiefs.
You got the spread?
8. Yeah, the spread is 8.
The minus 110, minus 115.
They're minus 110. But remember this, with the Raiders, their starting defense, as we just talked about, their starting defense, all 11 defenders are not practicing from Wednesday to Saturday. They are not practicing. They can play in the game on Sunday, though. So you mean to tell me versus Patrick Mahomes, you're going to have your whole starting defense, not a safety, not a linebacker, the whole defense not practice and then play against Mahomes, and you're going to give me 8? I think that he definitely lights them up and wins by probably 14, maybe even a little bit more than that.
We saw his interview. He was pissed.
Absolutely, because
he's ready to go.
And on top of that, it's bad blood because the last time when the Raiders beat the Chiefs earlier in the season, they took a victory lap around the stadium. Chiefs found out about it. They've been very perturbed. So this is the thing. So I told you, right? The Chiefs to win minus 8. Okay, is at negative 110, and then for Ben to throw over 1.5 touchdowns, it's minus 200. They're not the best odds by themselves, but when you parlay them, your odds are plus 186.
I like that.
That is beautiful right there because for a fact, both of those scenarios are going to happen. And when you bet the money the way you're supposed to do it, baby, that parlay makes terrible odds great odds. So those are my picks this week, baby. Shout out to DraftKings Sportsbook. Like I said, make sure you download the app and use the promo code MOATS, baby.